So if you've done your research, you would know that Florida is one of the top destinations for people to relocate to. It certainly has been a hot spot for retirees. And whether you're relocating here or not, everybody likes to vacation in Florida if you just want to get out of the cold. Many people want to move to Florida. So if you're watching this video, there's a high probability you've got Florida on your radar. And if that's the case, you should watch this video all the way to the end.
Some Floridians tell us they're not looking back as they head north on I-95 in search of a new home state. Some say they're looking for a better quality of life, and others say it's a more affordable one.
You have to ask yourself, what's changed? Why are people moving out of Florida?
Florida is one of the most moved to states along with Texas. Both are still gaining, but it looks like a lot of recent transplants to Florida and longtime residents are looking to get out.
I've lived here in Florida most of my life, over 45 years. I sell real estate here in Florida, right in the Sunshine State, and I'm not going to hold any punches. So if you really want to know what's happening from a local, keep watching. Now, while I probably don't need to go down a list of the benefits of living in Florida, I will highlight a few for you. Warm weather is one, beautiful beaches. There are some tax benefits, of course. We don't have state income tax. And in the past, we've had affordable housing. But as you notice, I said in the past. Yes, affordable housing, that's no longer the case.
Florida's housing market is growing even more overvalued while demand stays strong and homes remain in short supply. That information comes from researchers at Florida Atlantic University.
So yes, over the past 3.5 years, real estate prices have gone through the roof here in Florida. Now, that's primarily due to a supply and demand issue, but even with high interest rates and a softening of the real estate market, prices have remained stubbornly high. So things have leveled off. It's really no longer considered a seller's market, so there's that. But demand has remained pretty steady. So regardless of all those YouTube videos where people are screaming, the sky is falling, it hasn't yet fallen. But things are changing. You know, since 2020, everything's gone through the roof. The cost of living has gone up everywhere, just not here in Florida, nationwide. We have rising food costs, rising insurance costs for sure, in addition to rising housing costs. So why are people leaving Florida? You see, with this great migration that happened during COVID, a lot of things have changed here in Florida, particularly for longtime Floridians. They feel as though their quality of life has gotten a heck of a lot worse.
It was being flooded by people from elsewhere, and I thought that the vibe was a little bit different than it had been in the past.
Number one on the list was the high cost of living.
There's way more traffic, and housing prices are so high that Floridians are landlocked.
On the downside of things that are pushing prices up is we have this huge shortage of total units to live in. That's total units to live in and rent, plus total units to live in and own.
Johnson says that shortage is being driven by household formation, with roughly 70,000 new households expected in Southeast Florida in the next year.
For many Floridians, they feel as though their quality of life isn't as good as it used to be before. Now, one of the top complaints, of course, is cost of living. And here in Florida, the cost of living is above the curve. For instance, utilities are 2% above the national average, food 3% above the national average, healthcare 4% above the national average, transportation is 2% higher than the national average too. So the cost of living here in the state of Florida is higher. I did produce a video on that, and I'll pop it up here and I'll pop it at the end if you want to get into that in more detail. Then there's the cost of housing, whether you're renting or whether you're buying.
This couple lives in Coconut Grove. How expensive is it for you?
$4,000 a month.
It's a challenge to find
homes for tenants.
Sheila Gonzalez has been a realtor for 15 years. She says migration of people from up north since the pandemic changed the dynamics of the industry.
The rental market is high, but inventory is low.
She showed us this house in Palmetto Bay, Miami-Dade County, to illustrate today's reality.
This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath home with a pool. Right now it's listed for $9,000.
How much was it pre-pandemic?
Pre-pandemic, I think you can rent this for $6,000.
Most Floridians are priced out of the market. They are stuck where they live because they can't afford to buy a new house. Most Floridians find it doesn't make financial sense to move laterally in the same city or within the same state for that matter. I mean, if you've got a 3.5% mortgage rate, you're not going to pony up for a 7.5% mortgage rate, so your payment would double on top of the fact that the house price would be obscenely high. And of course, home insurance is ridiculous. So if you're a Floridian and you see that your home insurance has tripled, your taxes, your property taxes continue to rise, the cost of living has gone through the roof, and when it comes to the end of the month and there's really nothing left over, it's just not a good feeling. So many Floridians are packing up and moving.
New Census Bureau data shows as New Yorkers and Californians move in, among other out-of-staters, a number of Floridians are moving out. You traded in Florida for where?
Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
According to Business Insider, U.S. Census Bureau numbers show between the years 2021 and 2022, nearly 739,000 people moved in, and nearly 490,000 residents moved out.
And even though in 2023, real estate sales did slow, it's estimated that for every 100 households that moved in, there were 30 households that moved out. Yes, and most people, Floridians, tout that the cost of living was the primary factor, and the influx of new people was very instrumental in a reason for leaving the state.
Owen, a Florida boy born and raised here, is ready to pack up one last time and leave, trading pricey Florida for a small, more affordable town in Georgia.
Here I am, almost 50 years old, and I have to restart my whole entire life again.
He's doing everything right. He used to be able to afford to live here on that same single income, and now he cannot.
So congestion, traffic, and the fact that all of this migration has caused prices of housing to go through the roof has made many Floridians seek greener pastures. Or should I say, more affordable pastures. Okay, so let me give you an example of what housing prices were like here in 2020, 3 years ago. If we look at the fourth quarter in 2020, the median house price was $290,000. And if we compare that to December of 2023, fourth quarter prices, the median house price was $410,000. That's a big increase. Now, of course, with high interest rates, we are starting to see that median house price drop a little bit. There are some cracks in the system starting to happen. Just nothing shattering right now. That's right, January of 2024, the median home price did drop down to $405,000. So there was a $5,000 decrease in the median home prices. So that's a positive sign. But inventory is starting to grow. And as inventory rises, well, of course, it will further soften the seller advantage. And we're starting to see a little bit of that in my area. I would have to say 1 in 3 houses have done a price decrease. That's primarily because the house was overpriced to begin with. And as it seems, the Federal Reserve has changed their stance a little bit on the interest rate thing. You know, they had originally projected a certain number of interest rate decreases.
While we believe that our policy rate is likely at or near its peak for this tightening cycle, The economy has surprised forecasters in many ways since the pandemic, and ongoing progress toward our 2% inflation objective is not assured. We are prepared to tighten policy further if appropriate.
They did not raise or lower interest rates in March, and they are projecting that there will be some interest rate decreases, and I'm sure this is due to the election, so it will be close to the election, but I'm not seeing it going to be something substantial. Maybe you get a quarter point, maybe you get a half a point less in rates, but I'm not expecting it to be earth-shattering. But let's get back to why people are leaving Florida. Tourists and traffic. Traffic's gotten horrific. Politics. Yep, politics have been pushed to the forefront of things here in Florida. Some people like the direction of this state. Some people don't. Many people leave because of hurricanes. Hurricanes are one reason people leave. A lot of people moved here and thought they could handle them. You know, we have hurricanes here in Florida, just like California has earthquakes. But speaking of hurricanes, the cost of insurance is also a major factor why people are leaving the state of Florida, because our insurance is obscene. But regardless of our cost of housing, our cost of insurance, our cost of living, people still keep coming. You know, I've lived here in Florida practically my entire life, and I still enjoy living here. There's lots to love about Florida, but you do have to be tolerant of certain things, like really hot weather. No place is perfect. You gotta have a lot of patience, because getting from point A to point B with all the influx of people that have moved here takes a heck of a lot longer. And if you want a restaurant reservation, get it well in advance. If it's a popular place to eat, medical appointments have also become problematic. Due to the number of people that have moved here, you could wait months to get in to see a specialist. Even the smallest of towns are experiencing growing pains. I've even considered buying a second place to get out of the hustle and bustle, you know, someplace with beautiful scenery. Florida's not the only state with beautiful scenery, so make sure you do your homework before you dive in. In my opinion, at least right now, if you're going to buy a home in Florida, new construction's probably your best option. It's going to offer you the lowest insurance policy. Home's brand new. And the builders are normally incentivizing the sale through some type of closing cost incentive, sometimes a discount on upgrades. There's money being thrown around, probably more than what a resale home would be offering you.
Absolutely. Right now, we've seen one of the strongest markets for new construction that I've seen in my career, and an affordability advantage for new constructions where large public home builders are able to buy down mortgage rates, making things more affordable than what would appear on paper given today's interest rate market.
Put it this way, I sell a lot of new construction for that very reason. So in a nutshell, yes, Florida has changed. While we still have warm weather and beautiful beaches, the affordable housing options have gone far away. Well, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. It really helps my channel. Did you hear that? It's a political text. Looking for a donation. Okay, back to what I was saying. If you got some value out of this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. I would love to have you as part of my YouTube family. And of course, I hope I see you on my next video. Take care. Oh, and I meant to thank you for being here. You giving me part of your day is greatly appreciated.